Earlier today, the Milwaukee Bucks announced their two-time MVP, Giannis Antetokounmpo, had been ruled out of tonight's Game 5 of the Eastern Conference Finals. Giannis, unfortunately, suffered a hyperextended left knee during Game 4 Thursday. There is no timetable yet set for his return. And Hawks point guard Trae Young was sidelined in Game 4 with a bone bruise on his right foot. He is still considered questionable to return to the lineup for Game 5. But he did travel with the team to Milwaukee, as did Clint Capella, who has been cleared to play after an eye injury. And later in our show, Eastern Conference Finals fans, the Atlanta Hawks, are going to join us to ask our analysts and, well, you know, maybe talk a little trash as well. Hey everybody, welcome into our NBA TV studios. This is Playoff Central Live, brought to you by AT&T 5G. I'm Kristen Letlow, alongside our Brendan Haywood. He's down there. Jason Terry is right here. We're with you for the next hour until it's time to turn on TNT, and the guys just across the hall for Game 5 of the Eastern Conference Finals. But before we look ahead, let's look back at how the Hawks tied this series with the Bucks in Game 4, which, guys, few expected after Trae Young was ruled out an hour or so ahead of tip-off.
Yeah, Trae Young was out, but Lou Will was cooking in the kitchen, and he stepped up big. They also had 6 guys in double figures, so it was a collective effort with Trae Young being out.
It was definitely surprising. Like when I heard that Trae was out, I was like, I told my boy, no Trae, no way. They're not gonna win. They're not gonna win this game. Mm-hmm. And then when you just saw the energy and the fact that those guys didn't back down at all, they didn't pack it in. You knew what it was going to be. And I thought Milwaukee relaxed a little bit. They didn't come out with the same type of energy.
Well, let's get to more ahead of Game 5, as the Eastern Conference Finals are now tied at 2 games apiece, starting with Coach Mike Budenholzer on the Bucks' playing style, with or without Giannis in the lineup.
Hopefully there's a way that we play both with Giannis, without Giannis. You know, we talk about ball movement and people movement and playing free and, you know, playing organically. And you know, those things probably become even more important. And, you know, we got a lot of talent. And so I think just let the guys play, put them in a comfort level, put them in a comfortable spot, and let them go play basketball. You know, hopefully you have a structure and a system, you know, where you can function at a high level on both ends of the court, no matter who's playing.
You don't just prepare for Giannis. They have a lot of other guys over there that are productive and can play, and they can go to. So we'll continue to prepare for the Bucks.
When Trae goes down, we still feel like we're confident in our abilities as players as well. I mean, we pros too. We know how to play basketball as well. You know what I mean? I think that's the difference between the guys in the locker room and everybody else.
We just look at each other, and whoever we got out there, that's who we rolling with, and we're gonna go out and fight. What's the mindset? It's the Eastern Conference Finals. Like, there's no, like, if you ain't got the mindset to want to win right now, then you probably need another job.
He's not wrong. The Hawks' Game 4 win was their largest of the postseason by 22 points. So let's talk a little Hawks-Bucks, guys. First and foremost, how do you quantify the loss of a 2-time MVP to the Bucks lineup?
Yeah, tough loss, but when you have Chris Money Middleton, Cash Money, and Drew Holiday, you're in good hands. I mean, for them, they got to push the pace, make sure the ball's moving, not get caught up in isolation situations and get stagnant. That ball has to move and it has to find energy, but it starts on the defensive end. The Milwaukee Bucks have been a great defensive team throughout this season and in the postseason, so they got to step it up on the defense end, especially if Trae Young's not in the lineup. It should be easy to defend the Atlanta Hawks team.
I am glad, though, that you brought up Chris Middleton, because, Brendan, he finished Game 4 with 16, 8, and 5, but he was 0 for 7 beyond the arc. Would you like to see his offensive approach change at all?
Well, I think the Bucks' offense approach has to change for Chris Middleton. They have to run plays more to feature him and to get him up, whether that's running pin downs, post ups, getting him in the mid post, wherever it is. But they have to be real Middleton centric and sprinkling some Drew Holiday as well. I think that it has to go to Chris Middleton. I think, would you call him Chris Money Middleton?
Yes, sir.
They don't pay you that big money for nothing. Hey, what do you get, like 140? Listen, if you get 140, these are the moments that they pay you for and that you have to step up in and you have to thrive. And with Chris Middleton, last game, he let Cam Reddish come in the second half and put the clamps on him. They were on Twitter calling Cam Reddish Camberghini Reddish. It was crazy. I'm like, Chris Middleton, you can't go for this, man. Right. You got to expose the young boy, use your game, use your jab step series, come off your pin downs and take those shots. They need the Chris Middleton that showed up the previous game that went crazy in the fourth quarter.
Because as you mentioned, Jet, we don't know yet whether or not Trae Young is going to return to the lineup. But what did work well for the Hawks when he wasn't on the floor?
Well, if you think about it, their energy and effort was at a high. And then offensively, Lou Williams in the mid pick and roll with Brook Lopez playing the center field position really got exploited. I mean, he got downhill, he got whatever he wanted. Clint Capella got behind the defense and was able to get a couple lobs. And then Bogdanović was comfortable, he was in rhythm, he made shots. So if those guys can continue to do that, if they can get a collective effort without Trae Young, I mean, they're good as anybody.
Look at that coverage.
And have an opportunity to win this series.
Because game 4, well before game 4, Draymond Green tweeted Lou Williams can win you a game. And again, Brendan, he was not wrong. What did you like about what you saw from Lou?
I like the fact that he didn't force the action. We think of Lou as a bucket getter, but he has also had a great assist to turnover ratio that game as well. He was finding Capella and those guys for lobs inside, as well as going to get his points. When you look at Lou Williams, the 21 points, that's to be expected, but the 8 assists to only 1 turnover, now that's where the money's at.
Yep.
Jet, did you ever have 8 assists and only 1 turnover?
We'll talk about the 1 turnover, but I don't know about the 8 assists.
Yeah, I played with you. I don't know about the 8 assists either. No, but Jet was a bucket getter in the same vein as Lou Will. And so when you have guys like yourself and Lou Will, and you tell them, hey, tonight the big dog's not going to be there, your mentality is just different. I've seen it with you when Dirk wasn't playing. The Jet was definitely on the runway. You know, we're going to get some more shots, and the offense changed. And the same thing for Lou Will. Lou Will stepped up in that mid-pick and roll. He made play after play. And if you're Coach Bud, you have to do something. This is the second series in a row that Brook Lopez has been exploited in the mid-pick and roll. I don't know if somebody has to write him a memo, send him a text.
Maybe they're watching.
I don't know what camera it is, right? Is that my camera? Hey, Bud, you can't let Brook Lopez get exploited by the mid-pick and roll. He got exploited in game 1 with Trae Young. You got exploited last series with Kevin Durant in the mid-pick and roll. And now Lou Williams, he's coming off the mid-pick and roll and going left. Man, he got lemon pepper wing sauce dripping all over the court out there. He's money. He's money going to the left. You already know what it is.
It's a bucket.
Well, as promised, it is time to ask the analyst. And we have Hawks fans virtually standing by. Alex is up first. Alex, what do you got for our guys?
So my question for you guys is, with this Hawks lineup finally making the playoffs, I think it brings a lot of attention to some of the great nicknames some of our Hawks players have. Do you have a favorite one? We got options like Clamp Reddish, Kayvon, 0017, John the Baptist, Lemon Pepper Lou.
I was about to say, just as long as you don't bring up why each of them have earned these nicknames, because then Brendan's going to get messy up here. Frankly, he's going to get messy.
No, I'm not. Lemon Pepper Lou is just for wings. Wings,
all right, I like it. Okay, favorite nicknames.
Actually, my favorite nickname is for Herder. I like Red Velvet.
No.
I like Red Velvet. Y'all don't like Red Velvet?
It's
What is
better.
that velvet? That's beautiful.
It's
I like
better
Red Velvet.
than Opie Taylor.
Wow, they call him that?
You haven't heard?
No, I know they call him Opie Taylor.
know that.
He can't let that ride in the locker room.
Opie is adorable.
He
but
got to dead that the first day.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, Jason, any?
Lemon Pepper Lou is cool with me. I mean, but what'd you say, Camberlini?
And well-earned.
They call on Twitter. They're calling Cam Reddish
Camberghini.
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 My man Rashad Phillips calls him Camberghini. Been calling him that for 3 years.
I like that one too. All right.
They finally pulled him out of the garage last game.
Pulled him out of the garage and took
Have
the
it.
Camberghini for a test drive.
Ready to go.
Jeremiah, what's up? What do you got for our guys?
How do y'all feel about do you feel about the young team, the Atlanta Hawks doing the playoffs for this season?
I mean, it's such a young team and a team that has, by all means, it's fair, right, to say that they well overshot expectations. How do you feel?
I feel great about this young team. I think they're ahead of schedule. That's the best way to put it. When you look at where Trae Young is, it's only year 3. He's coming into his own. When you look at Nate McMillan just took over the beginning of March and already has his team playing championship level basketball. So I think the best way to describe them is ahead of schedule. And man, oh man, when they continue to add pieces, they're going to be even scarier.
Yeah, they're definitely a scary team. They're just not afraid. They've never been in this position, so they don't even know how to act. But what they do know how to do is play hard, play with tons of energy, and they understand that, hey, they're just as good as anybody out there right now. And with the wounded Milwaukee Bucks team, they got action.
There you have it. Alex, Jeremiah, thank you so much for taking the time to join us. Enjoy the Eastern Conference Finals on TNT.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
All right, we'll see you soon. Playoff Central.
Since 1993, Chris Paul displayed so much raw emotions out there. He's been to this spot before, but never got over the hump.
You got Clippers fans waiting around, chanting your name and the way that it's a little bit of a Hollywood script, the way this thing went.
I played 6 years here, and a lot of these fans became my family. If I could do it all over again without left. And I said, yeah, because I learned a lot of stuff along the way. And this is like a storybook, getting somewhere that I've never been before, going against a team that I always be connected to.
In your wildest dreams, you couldn't have, put it together in this way. I was so grateful to be on his side, and then I really enjoyed watching him and his emotions after the game. I was like, I must be getting old now because I'm enjoying watching other people.
I kept asking him in the fourth quarter, you taste that? You taste it? He's like, no. I said, all right, come on. We're going to keep playing then. We're going to keep playing. 5 minutes ago, we up 21. You taste that? No. He go back out, bang, hit the top of the three. I'm like, all right, he's still feeling me. It took us about to get subbed out of the game in the fourth quarter. He's like, I taste it now. I'm like, all right.
It's been a long time coming. We've seen the bottom. They're waiting on this moment right here. And Monty coming in, building the culture, him leaving us with the preparation meets opportunity. And, that was these moments right here. But we still have work to do. I mean, this is nice and all, but, we're going for Larry for sure.
The Suns are only the fourth team in the last 50 years to go from the worst in the NBA to the finals in a span of 4 years. How, Brendan, did this franchise make such a drastic turnaround?
Well, it started with the fact that they made some great hires. And I think great franchises are built from the top all the way down. Starts with James Jones, the guy I was a teammate with in Cleveland. He's done a fantastic job. Hires the right coach. Monty Williams, he sets the culture and makes sure that those guys understand that it's bigger than just basketball with him. He's teaching you life lessons as well. You don't mind if a coach yells at you if you think he cares about you. Then the last piece, they bring in Chris Paul. Devin Booker was already there, so they bring in Chris Paul, a mentor, a leader, somebody that can show these guys how to win. You mix that up with a lot of good young players, some good draft picks. Next thing you know, you got a championship caliber roster, and that's how we got here today. Chris Paul, the point god himself, with a phenomenal performance in Game 6 yesterday. It was impressive to see, but listen, this franchise has totally rebuilt, and it starts with excellent hires up top.
Because, Jet, CP not only tied his playoff career high with 41, but 31 of them came in that second half. How do you describe what you saw from him down the stretch?
Well, this is sheer determination and understanding that, look, these opportunities are far and few between at the tail end of my career. Not saying he's there now, but he's probably on the back nine.
Yeah.
So, I mean, for him, 16 years of, like he said, heartache, disappointment, injuries, and just not being able to get there. 11-time All-Star, 10-time All-NBA, 9-time All-Defense. I mean, he's a Hall of Famer. That boy's good.
That boy good.
He's good. And so for him, I just got to believe, like, he was not going to let that moment pass, and he's still not done yet.
I do want to revisit a moment late in the game. Patrick Beverley waiting until Chris Paul was walking away, then shoved him in the back. He was, of course, ejected after this. And earlier today, he tweeted an apology saying
man Kaminsky, though.
His emotions got the best of him.
Kaminsky got to come to his boy's aid a little bit better than that.
Brendan, you are one of the first people I think of each and every time I witness a moment like this, because I just want to know what your reaction was.
Well, the first thing I thought the move by Pat Bev was Bush League. Listen, you can't be the guy yapping and chirping, and then when it's your turn, you don't want to take it and you want to push somebody in his back. That's dangerous. Chris Paul wasn't looking. He could have been injured on that play. So I really didn't like that. And then, hey, man, I'm just having fun. But, hey, Frank the Tank, Kaminsky. Hey, if somebody pushes your leader like that, you got to do a little something. He's not going to be in the next State Farm commercial. Bet that. I bet that. Frank Kaminsky will not be in the next State Farm commercial.
No, but I never played in the Bush League. But it's rough.
Hey, listen. Hey. They might trade Frank Kaminsky for the Suns and four guys just to make sure they got some goons on the roster.
Done with Brendan.
What? I'm just
Jason,
saying.
was your response?
They need somebody that's rough and tough out there.
No, I played with Pat Bev, and it was utter frustration at that particular moment. I mean, he was going back and forth all game, and, CP3 did his talking on the court. I mean, he put the team on his back when he was needed most. And then, but this ain't basketball.
Come on, Kaminsky.
Yeah. That ain't basketball.
I'm mad that you've said more about Frank than Pat, Brendan.
No, because with Pat, I was just disappointed.
Yeah.
Of course.
Because I have a healthy respect for what he does. You need that wild card guy, but when you are a guy that does the talking, when you're on the other end, you got to accept it. And so I didn't like how Pat behaved. And the fact of the matter is, Chris didn't even say anything. That just tells you how under his skin he was. He just gave him the look like, yeah, you know what it is. It's over. And Pat just reacted poorly. And I just didn't like. I'm glad Pat apologized, but in the moment, I just didn't think that Pat handled that well at all.
Well, we've got to take a quick break, but we are going to break with some breaking news from ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski reporting alongside Malika Andrews. Hawks star Trae Young is out for Game 5 against the Bucks tonight. Of course, that series tied at 2 games apiece. He's going to continue to rehab with hopes of playing in the Eastern Conference Finals. Game 6 Saturday in Atlanta. Still thinking, Brendan? No Trae, no way? Or have your thoughts changed since the Game 4 win?
My thoughts have definitely changed since the Game 4 win, but Milwaukee is at home. You still have Chris Middleton. You still have Drew Holiday. Brook Lopez used to average 20 points per game in this league. He can still give you some points on the block as well. So I'm expecting Milwaukee to still come out there and show well. And without Trae Young, I still think they have the better roster. So I'm going to go with Milwaukee in this game. At home, you got to get it done.
It is unfortunate, though, Jet, that this postseason has essentially turned into who can just last the longest.
Well, understanding you're 2 games away from being in the NBA Finals. You have to be the much more desperate team if you're Milwaukee. Your 2 stars that are left, Chris Middleton and Drew Holiday, have to have big performances and lead the charge. And then your role players have to step up and make shots and make plays. And so they can't give the Atlanta Hawks any confidence. You don't want this to be a close game. You want to get that bus cranked up early and get back to Atlanta for Game 6.
Again, Trae Young out of Game 5 of the Eastern Conference Finals, but we are going to be with you until it's time to turn on TNT for Game 5 as this series has shifted to Milwaukee, and it's tied at 2 games apiece.
We got to get Frank Kaminsky some karate class.
Still standing by, waiting to ask our analysts about their Atlanta Hawks ahead of Game 5 of the Eastern Conference Finals on TNT.
She got moves over here.
I like it.
Low box.
The game tips off just after 8:30 Eastern. It will unfortunately not feature Giannis Antetokounmpo or Trae Young in this one. Bucks coach Mike Budenholzer is addressing the media ahead of the matchup.
We'll decide between now and tip.
Game 5 against the Nets, Chris played 45 minutes. Is that something that you can do with guys like Chris and Drew tonight with such a short rotation with all the injuries that you had?
Yeah, I think Chris has an ability, Drew both have an ability, I think to take a heavy load and play big minutes. Sometimes you got to feel it out, see how the game's going, just the rhythm of the game, the pace of the game, things like that. But, I think fortunately they're both the type of players that have done it. I think their body is, we've actually hopefully built up, some kind of, just preparedness for it.
Bryn obviously got loose against the Heat, and I think he struggled a little bit more to have another big night. What can you guys do to get him going and get him some open shots?
Yeah, I think when we're playing basketball, when it's moving a little bit, we're playing fast, maybe some off-ball screens and things like that. Get to the paint, some kickouts, offensive rebounds, kickouts. So I think it's got to kind of, I think if we force it to him too much, it hasn't been good. So it's got to be a balance of just letting it happen and playing in space and getting penetration and a swing type pass and just all those other ways and maybe free him up, get some screens for him too, a little bit of both.
Joe Harden?
You guys ruled Giannis out pretty fast today, which as media members we appreciate the time and manner and the way that happened, but
that's why we did it.
I'm sure it is. But was he able to do anything today at shoot-around?
He did, stuff kind of in the, weight room and, kind of the sports performance area, training area. But he didn't come on the court with us this morning.
So now, we all know he doesn't have any structural damage, but the hyperextension looked pretty nasty. Do you think he'll be able to play again in this series?
I thought we were done just because we let it out early. I wouldn't get that question. I mean, we're just, we'll update it when it's appropriate. He's got a great mindset. He's putting his time and effort in, and we'll update you guys, and I guess I'll be updated, as things progress. I think, either way, there's nothing more to add, at this point.
Mike, so after you spoke last game, Drew, PJ, and Chris all talked about the desperation Atlanta played with. I think PJ said they came and took it. Drew again talked about rebounding and energy. So what is, I guess, not like there's flipping of tables going on before games, but when the guys talk like that, can you look back and find a cause or a reason for why there are slow starts, or maybe they don't feel they've come out with the right sort of energy? And is there anything that can be done there, or is that just it is what it is once the ball goes up?
Well, I would stop short of saying it is what it is, but there's routines and there's things that we kind of do on a nightly basis, and when we come out and play well or do all those things, it's usually the same types of routines, the same types of things and preparation. And I think you got to lay your hat there, and they're human. So I think we're excited to be back here. I think those guys have high character. They're great competitors. I'm expecting their best tonight, and that's the great part about them. They look at themselves. They're hard on themselves, and they'll push themselves.
We're with you until it's time to turn on TNT for Game 5 of the Eastern
He walking good,
Finals.
Jet.
But unfortunately, he's sidelined with his hyperextended knee. After the break, here we go. It's time for more Ask the Analyst with our virtual Hawks fans. Jack, Renika, ahead of Game 5 of the Eastern Conference Finals. Renika, I am loving the look. The red lip is popping. I will get to you in a moment. But Jack, let's get to your question for our analysts first.
Well, my question is, because we just found out that Trae Young is going to be ruled out for tonight, do you think we should keep the same rotation as Game 4? Or do you think we should let a guy like Bogey handle the rock a little bit?
Oh, guys.
Jet, you the ball handler. You take this one.
Oh, man. You know what? You have to have a steady dose of Lou Williams. If it ain't broke, don't try to fix it. But also, Bogey, I mean, he's a capable guy that can handle in the pick and roll situations. But I like him moving off screens, getting up and down the floor in transition. But we definitely need him. I said we was drafted to the Hawks in '99. Okay.
That's right.
Right. But we need him to go big as well.
Man, I didn't know you was that old, Jet.
Brennan's trying to do the fast math, and he's not so fast at the math.
No, but I actually agree with Jet. I think that heavy dose of Lou Williams, let Bogey do what he does, coming off screen, spotting up. I actually like Herter in the mid pick and roll too. He got more wiggle and shake to his game than most people give him credit for. When they see him, they think he's just a shooter, but don't sleep on Kevin Herter at all, or what they call him, Kayvon, whatever they call him. He gets buckets.
That was a great question as well, Jack. Renika, what do you got?
Okay, my question is, if you could adjust or make up your own NBA rule, what would it be?
Ooh, I like this one. I like it specifically for Brendan. I'm starting with you.
That's what
if I can make
these kind of questions, this is where Brendan thrives.
If I could make up my own NBA rule, I would take out the goaltending and use the little European style format, man, where you can knock it off the rim and stuff, man.
All right.
I like, because for a big guy myself, I gotta get me a couple extra shot blocks in there. So I'd use the European model for goaltending if I could change.
A rule he would have benefited from.
Yeah.
Jason, anything?
What you want, a 5-point line?
Addition?
I'm going back to the baggy shorts. They got the rule where you got to have them 6 inches above the knees.
Come on, Jet.
Man, I'm going back old school.
Come on, Jet, man. You can't be getting dressed like you're ready for a Nelly video. We're going down. Let me.
Jack, you were too young for that.
Jack's like, who's Nelly?
Yeah, like, what?
But he really is like, who's Nelly? Never heard of him. I'm going to Google him.
Have you, Jack?
Yeah,
no, I didn't think so.
Who's Nelly?
He was recently on Dancing with the Stars.
Yeah. Still doesn't.
No. Okay.
Married to Miss Jackson?
Yeah. All right. Guys, thank you so much for joining us. Enjoy Game 5 of the Eastern Conference Finals. Thanks for taking the time with us on NBA TV.
Go Hawks.
All right. We'll talk to you
Hawks.
soon. We are now, how long? Let's see. Hour and a half? A little less than?
Good to see that guy back, though.
That's right. Game 5 of the Eastern Conference Finals on TNT. Clint Capella is available to play despite his eye injury. Giannis Antetokounmpo, Trae Young are not. Stay with us.
He was hitting shots on the other side of the backboard last game.
Yeah.
He's definitely going to be in House of Haywood this week for sure.
Oh, absolutely.
Shameless plug.
Trae Young has unfortunately been ruled out of Game 5 of the Eastern Conference Finals, with this series tied at 2 games apiece and shifting back to Milwaukee. He will reportedly continue to rehab his right foot with the hopes of returning for Game 6. Coach Nate McMillan also addressed the media ahead of the matchup.
Hey, Nate. Will Clint be available?
Clint will be available tonight.
Jim Lazarski, Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel.
All right.
I don't remember if you spoke yesterday before Giannis was ruled out. He has been ruled out earlier today. So do you guys go back and look at what the Bucks did in like the 9 games he missed this year, or is that too far away? And it's, you know what I mean? Is there any of that, or you just kind of focus on what's in front of you?
Of course, you do your homework. You certainly look at games he didn't play in, and so of course we look at those games and those stats, and just try to prepare ourselves for the game tonight. They had some games right before the end of the regular season where they were sitting some guys and some guys were playing. So of course you do all of that homework.
Chris Kirschner with The Athletic.
You guys had the most success in the paint in the series so far in this last game. When you went back and watched the film, why do you think that was?
I thought we had really good ball movement. I didn't think that we were settling on the perimeter. Had good ball movement, 26 assists. We were attacking as opposed to settling on the perimeter. I thought we did a good job of the guards getting into the paint and creating opportunities, as well as our bigs posting up and playing in the paint. So that's always the attack for us. We want to attack the basket, force that defense to collapse, and if they do that, then we play on the perimeter.
Joe Barden.
Good evening. Trae was a game time decision for Game 4, and I think he's out, or it's been reported already that he's out.
Mm-hmm.
Was there a setback of any kind, or
no?
Is how much of this? Now you have 3 games to win 2. Like tonight is no longer like a must win. Does that play into the decision to maybe be able to take it a little bit more cautiously with him?
No, he just didn't feel comfortable enough to go tonight.
Jeff Schultz.
Nate, what did you learn about your team?
Jeff.
Yeah, in person.
Good to see you in person. All right. Sorry.
That's okay. What did you learn about your team in terms of available rotations and players, in terms of, who works well together with Trae Outlowski?
We've been able to make that adjustment, and guys have been able to step in really all season long, with the different guys being out. Guys are getting opportunities in situations like that. And, this year for us, guys have taken advantage of that. Lou has, I think had a couple starts, but, it was Brandon early in the season. It was Solomon. It was Tony. We've had a number of guys throughout the season to have to fill in for guys who are injured, and they've taken advantage of it. So what I've learned is these guys prepare themselves. I think our coaches do a good job preparing the guys, having them ready, keeping them ready to go. And when they get that opportunity, they've been able to take advantage of it. Cam hadn't played in 4 months, and again, coaches did a good job of working with him. He couldn't get a lot of live play. A lot of it was 2-on-2, 3-on-3 with our coaches playing. So they had him ready, and last game he was big for us. Came up big for us. He took advantage of that opportunity.
Okay. Jeff Zilkett.
Nate, I think I might know what a portion of your answer might be, but with all the injuries that happened in the season, the playoffs, And now this series.
And our virtual fans are back to ask our analysts a couple more questions ahead of Game 5 of the Eastern Conference Finals. We've got Stefan and Mike. Stefan, let's start with you.
All right, now how y'all doing now? I guess my question is, in the Hawks, when these last 6 games, when will the NBA world start labeling us as the underdogs? And I think we should be the team to beat at this point now.
Interesting. All right.
Really?
So asking about the perception of the Hawks. Is this an underdog team, or at this point, should they be considered the team to beat? Brendan?
I think the underdog perception was cool at first because a lot of people didn't expect them to beat a team like Philadelphia. I expected them to actually beat the Knicks. I thought they had more talent. But now that they're coming to their own and Trey's doing his thing, I can say that you can't count the Hawks out anymore. I'm not going to say they're the favorites, but we can't look at them at like little brother anymore. This ain't your moms and pops Atlanta Hawks.
I like that. Mike, what about you?
So I think it's something that's even been said on today's show and countless times in conversations I've had about the Hawks exceeding expectations this year. And so with that being said and what they've done up until this point, how do you guys see their offseason with free agency as well as just next year? How do you foresee the reputation for the team changing?
That's a great question as well. Jason?
Well, I think for me, I can foresee they keep this team together. I mean, they got a good young nucleus. Trey Young, Clint Capella, John Collins. I think John Collins' contract may be a thing that they have to address, but
pay that man.
Yeah, pay that man that money. But Bogdanovich, Young, they just acquired him. And then Kevin Huerter, obviously, you've seen what he can do. So keep this young core team together. They've gained some valuable experience this year. They're not done yet. And see what you got going forward. I mean, it's tough to acquire this type of talent and keep the chemistry and culture together when you have a lot of turnover and change.
Stefan, Mike, thank you so much for hanging out with us and for hanging all show long. We appreciate you.
Yes, sir.
I mean, they're 1 hour away from tip-off. Are you excited?
Turn that little baby
Hawks
up.
and 6.
Excited? All right. I like it. Thank you, guys. Thank you for joining us. All right. We've got a minute left. I want to know which direction you think this goes, knowing that when series are tied, the team that wins Game 5 typically goes on to win the series much more than half of the time, more than 80% of the time. Brendan?
Yeah, well, you know what? I said it earlier in the show. I'm going to go back to it. Milwaukee's the home team. I like Middleton. I like Drew Holiday. I think those two guys figure out a way to get it done. So I'm going to roll with Milwaukee in this one.
What do you think, Jet?
There's just been so much surprise and you just don't know. The unexpected always happens this year in the playoffs. So I'm going to jump out there. I say the Hawks, man, it's a lot of pressure on Milwaukee. Milwaukee has a lot of pressure on them to win even without Giannis. They're supposed to be the better team. They're at home tonight. But if the Hawks can somehow make baskets, man, and put some pressure on them, they got a chance.
So you got the Hawks?
How you say it?
It's
Nailed it. All right. Turn on TNT for Game 5 of the Eastern Conference Finals. Then Playoff Central Live will continue right here on NBA TV with post-game press conferences from coaches and players. For Brendan and Jason, I'm Kristen.
We got a bet, man.
We'll see you soon.
You making a bet?